Welcome to UC News, ucnewscanada.ca. The Canadian Crisis Response. I'm Dr. Dave. The Mayor and Council of the City of Peterborough have condemned a young woman to death under conditions of cruel and unusual punishment, far worse than in Canadian prisons. Her crimes consist of not having enough money to pay the income extremists that have seized control of every essential human need, including housing, and having mild schizophrenia, which requires work suiting her person, accessible, and on her schedule. She wants to grow food and have shelter of her own choice and making, not that imposed by the Mayor and Council, aiming to create hellishly degrading life conditions in which they constantly attack her. She wants her Section 7 rights to life, whereas the Mayor and Council want her and others dead and gone. In a public council meeting, they described the characteristics of a group they wanted gone, assuming the right to hold the power of life and death over others. They used a group identity to hunt her and others down, and in the middle of winter, strip them of life-saving gear critical to survival, devising many means by which to exterminate this unwanted group. All of this was done casually, working against their Section 1 duties of office, requiring problem solving by care with basis in fact. Instead, they worked against the law, rejecting the Canadian Constitution Act and legal system. Based on callous whim, contempt, hate, and dislike alone, decided they have the right to vote to decide who should live or die. Then, working outside the law and justice system, committing numerous hate crimes and criminal code violations, relentlessly devising numerous strategies to accomplish their goals, fully consistent with war crimes, fully consistent with psychopathy, trapping their victims, allowing no way out, and taking evident pleasure in exerting their power to cause intense suffering, bodily harm, and the death of others. Hiring private security forces to do their dirty work. Hiring a woman to convince people to move on immediately with only what they can carry, with city officials standing behind her, and behind them a garbage truck. The implication being that these people are garbage and the streets must be cleaned up, but knowing full well there is no place for them to go. Having removed all places to exist, all places to grow food, and all places for those with little to enter the market by making and selling things, these being totalitarian state policies identical to those used in North Korea for the same purpose of state oppression and extermination. What they are doing is clear, and the law is clear. They have formed hit squads, the Mobile Crisis Intervention Team, being eager to put people in extreme deprivation on forced death marches. When you are dying, they cannot find you, but when you are dead, frozen rigid into a pile of garbage bags, outside a cafe, they find you quickly to remove the evidence. That is the working policy, stated openly, put in place in writing, and acted on, making clear their plans for this generation of young Canadians. Anyone unable to pay the income extremists controlling every essential human need is useless and must be removed. In the Criminal Code of Canada, 318(1), every person who advocates or promotes genocide is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to imprisonment for a term of not more than 5 years. In council, they described the characteristics of a group they wanted gone, then acted continuously on their goals, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction. An identifiable group means any section of the public distinguished by color, race, religion, national or ethnic origin, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or mental or physical disability. These public bylaws apply to all members of society, including students and seniors amongst the homeless, and anyone who at any moment cannot afford rent. The mayor has also expressed in writing and action that it is not in the public interest to grow food. The mayor has written plans for societal deprivation at large scale, further stating that this is no problem. He will eat well. The core of life security has been removed purposely to create a human supply chain of desperate workers. This being the direct outcome of a crushing work, food, and housing system aimed at ultimate deprivation they want no one to escape from. Camping is not allowed. Tents are not allowed. Small homes are not allowed, because these would provide freedom from those controlling the system for infinite profit. They are willing to kill to keep it that way, denying the pioneer rights of an entire generation of young Canadians who cannot begin to gain a foothold in life and thus remain permanently trapped in conditions of indentured servitude with all freedoms and rights to life removed. In Canadian prisons, where people have been convicted, if we made prisoners stand in the freezing rain or in a snowstorm, not allowing shelter or a place to sleep, and doing this knowing they were on their last legs of exhaustion, then we would know these as war crimes. Indeed, they are. These are violations of Section 12 of our Canadian Constitution, to be free from cruel and unusual state punishment or treatment, which is a violation of Canada's Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act, which comes directly from a short list of war crimes laid out in Article 5 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as things we should never do. Violating our Section 7 rights to life, liberty, and security of the person, also an Article 3 war crime. Also a Criminal Code of Canada, Section 219, violation of abandonment of duty, with such intentional endangerment of the lives of others as to be called aggravated negligent manslaughter, a Criminal Code Section 220 violation which they have committed. And for those that have survived the relentless attacks by the Mayor and Council, the criminal charges are criminal negligence causing bodily harm, a Section 221 indictable federal offense requiring prison sentences of up to 10 years with multiple counts. This they have done. Yet I stand between this Mayor and Council and the people they are trying to kill, laying the full case of charges with the Ontario Court of Justice online for anyone to read as required by Section 11 of the Charter. Further noting that under the Charter, people have the full right and freedom to correct the appalling conditions, as this action is in the public domain and in the territory of rights and freedoms to act in areas off limits to politicians, this not being legitimate government. The legal, cogent, and persuasive arguments are also written in a homeless crisis action plan available online and in book form for all to act directly to solve the housing, food, and work security crisis created by individuals in government working against the law and aiming to kill to get money.